Scam me and a couple hundred people out of thousands? I will ruin your life. First off, I would like to state that I am in fact an idiot, who has learned his lesson. My birthday is coming up and I decided to treat myself to a new pair of sneakers. Been having a good year at my job and I don't really spend much on myself. I've always wanted a pair of Yeezys, so I got online and found a pair at a really good price. When I was messaging the seller, he asked if I would be willing to not pay through the site, to avoid seller fees, and he would sell even cheaper. He even offered to take the payment through Chase, which I assumed would have me protected, so we used the Zelle Quick Pay feature. Before I sent the money, he even sent me a pic of the sneakers and pics of several receipts from the UPS and USPS, showing that he sells several pairs of sneakers and actually ships them. I agree and we begin in conversation on IG. Guy seems pretty legit, doesn't look like he needs to scam people, he seems legit enough, so I send him the funds thinking I just got a deal. No response after the funds are sent, a day goes by with no answers. At this point I chalked it up to a loss and learned my lesson. Should have spent the extra $40 and got it from a verified site. Also, do not use Zelle. Chase told me because I used Quick Pay, there is nothing they could do except contact the police. They had no fraud protection for Zelle, even though I paid it through Chase. Turns out Zelle is a scammer's best friend. Only trust PayPal. At that point I'm more pissed that I allowed myself to get scammed, not so much about the money. I'll survive. This is when I go into full 007 mode and start my revenge. I find the guy on Facebook and put his name into the white pages, and find his home number and I call it. The kid still lives with his parents, so I figure they should know what's going on. I speak with his mother and she has no idea what's going on but that he isn't home. I said unless you want cops at your door he better call me. 5 minutes later I get a restricted call. It's him. He has no idea who I am and had not been speaking with me at all. Actually turns out his phone was stolen on Nye and didn't have his IG account locked, or his Venmo account. The guy who stole his phone used his Grailed account and IG to post shoes, and then never sent any of them. Happened to a bunch of people in a few days. This is where the guy effed up. The real guy tracked the Venmo account and matched it to a very similar FB and IG account name. I decided to throw a dart in the dark and sent a pic of the FB account to the guy who scammed me. First response: where did you get that? For whatever reason, the scammer decided to text me from his real number at that point. Now I have his number. I now decided to bullshot and told him that the Chase fraud specialist is waiting for me to send the pictures of the receipts he sent me. I told him they could use the very visible tracking numbers to find the seller and their billing info since it was a debit transaction, and that I now had FB photos of him and a name and number. I told him that the real person told me there was an active police investigation and this was the info they needed. I started demanding my money back or I would turn everything over, and in 5 minutes I had all my cash back. He made me promise to delete everything if he sent it all back. I even gave him some answers about the fake conversation I had with Chase. He was trying to find out what I and they knew, which was everything. Best part was he also used his personal account to send me the money back, which shows his real name, had a slightly different one on FB. The account would also have all of his billing info. He wasn't a very good scammer. All of the accounts were deleted and I've been blocked. Doesn't matter, I'm sending everything to the poor guy this scammer has been destroying. The poor guy said it's been the worst 4 days of his life, constant calls and emails about being scammed. Luckily Venmo covered all the money that the scammer transferred out of his account, but he also wants revenge. Hopefully he will get it now, since we now know exactly who it is.